This is the story of the top-secret Project 13 by Carl Zeiss and his collaborators. I will take you through the interconnected chain of events and intrigues, marriages, divorces, and affairs that led to this project and the creation of the iconic Contax RTS, possibly the best SLR camera ever made, a decade ahead of most of the others. I will also introduce you to the family members, close and distant, that you may not have guessed. Reward this hard work with a click for subscription. Contax originally began as a camera model created by Zeiss in 1932 in Dresden, which was an industrial hub of East Germany. At that time, the brand was known as Zeiss Ikon. The company was famous for optical systems. It was founded in Jena in 1846 by the optician Mr. Carl Zeiss. By World War I, Zeiss was the world's largest camera production company. 35mm cameras using 35mm perforated movie films in small canisters were invented by Leitz Camera of Wetzlar, Germany, which we now know as Leica. That was a huge breakthrough in making photography mainstream. Zeiss Ikon, the predecessor to Contax, was a competitor and decided to produce a camera that was superior in every way. The name Contax, by the way, was chosen democratically by an opinion poll of the Zeiss employees. The original version was Contax 1, followed by Contax 2 and 3, with die-cast alloy body, vertically traveling metal shutter. These were superior to Leica cameras. Contax had numerous production facilities across Germany. After the war, the factories were split between East Germany under Soviet control and West Germany. The East German production was later transferred to Kiev in Ukraine, which produced the same rangefinder designs under the new name of Kiev. After the war, Contax unveiled the new East German S model, which is largely the camera that defined the basic configuration of the modern SLR camera. The East German Zeiss Ikon had many Contax models, such as D, E, F, FB, FM, and FBM. Later, under pressure from West German Zeiss Ikon, Contax's name was gradually replaced with Pentacon. The Pentacon name is a combination of Pentagon and Contax. I wonder if the workers voted on that clever name too. Pentacon then produced cameras such as Praktica with a K. See this video on our channel on Praktica. In the West German side, Zeiss started to produce revised versions of Contax 2A and 3A rangefinder cameras. It also produced SLR cameras such as Contoflex, Contorex, Falklander Bessomatic, and Icarex, but sadly no Contax. In 1970s, the camera production was increasingly dominated by the Japanese companies, which were rapidly innovating and producing highly functional, mass-produced cameras. German companies were suffering from lack of raw materials and collaboration between the West and East German producers. Leica looked around and found a partner in Minolta. Leica benefited from the more advanced camera chassis designs and electronics of Minolta. That resulted in Leica CL in 1972 and Leica R3 in 1976. Zeiss also looked at partnerships with the Japanese. First, it identified Pentax. It even offered an engagement ring, a new bayonet mount. But the engagement did not lead to marriage, and they broke up. But I guess Pentax kept the K-mount. Zeiss didn't stop there. It proposed the same to Yashica, producer of consumer cameras full of innovative electronics. Yashica was the manufacturer of the world's first electronically controlled 35mm camera, the Electro 35, the reliable rangefinder model that sold 5 million units. Yashica was a perfect partner and agreed. They decided to name their first baby Contax, after the memory of his great-grandfather in Germany. But this was not a conventional marriage. It was a threesome, or ménage à trois.
Ménage à trois.
With the third party being a star designer, Ferdinand Alexander Porsche, named Butzi, and the grandson of Ferdinand Porsche. He designed the first Porsche 911 and later many other products such as watches and cameras. Porsche Design Studio created the beautiful Contax camera, shell and ergonomics. Yashica created the camera functionality and electronics. Zeiss created a complete line of superb T-star coated lenses and a brand new bayonet mount known as Contax Yashica mount. Contax RTS was designed by Professor Dr. Katsuhiko Sugaya and manufactured in the Yashica factory as Top Secret Project 13.
Contax RTS, the precision instrument. Contax RTS, a bold step beyond any other professional 35mm camera. Just you and Contax. That's all it takes to begin an exciting new adventure in photography, an adventure in creativity. But why? The lens, the camera's eye to the world, is just one outstanding feature. To create a lens fine enough to match the quality of this precision instrument, Contax chose the world's most respected optics expert, Carl Zeiss. And the lenses? The Carl Zeiss T-Star, manufactured here in the Zeiss Works at Oberkochen, West Germany. Today, both the Contax RTS and the Yashica SLR series electronic cameras, the FR1, FR2, and the FR, all benefit from the optical genius of Carl Zeiss. Using the Contax and the Zeiss T-Star lens does make a difference you can see. Contrast is improved. There's a new sharpness. The colors are more brilliant. True, the reds are robust. The blues, solid, lifelike. The whites snap out, pure and fresh. They're all available, and each lens lives up to the highest standards of Zeiss craftsmanship. And a body designed by Porsche that has brought beauty and function together. Truly, Contax is a step beyond.
The production of Contax models shifted from Yashica to Kyocera in 1983, including the new stunningly beautiful models such as Contax G1, G2, T2, and 645 medium format. Under pressure from the emerging digital photography, by 2005, all production stopped. Contax, however, is still a brand owned by Zeiss, and who knows, it may well be reintroduced since the parent company Zeiss is still around and successful with 30 production sites and 25 development sites worldwide. Now, let's look at the first one, the handsome, the competent, the fast and smart SLR camera in sporty black, the Contax RTS. This happens to be my own very first SLR camera. From 1975, the first year it came out, bought in Tokyo, Japan. On top, the film advance lever, or lever, is over here in the usual place. Shutter release button is feather touch, very soft in the middle here, quite large, and it doesn't have a thread for cable release. However, cable release is available as an electronic cable release, which attaches to this point over here. The frame counter is over here, and it's very clear to see. Contrast between white and black, extra good. Film sensitivity, ISO in white and DIN in orange is over here. The way you set it is you lift the ring and rotate it. On this occasion, I want to put it on 160. It clicks into place. That's good for Portra 160. Integrated with the same ring, at the bottom is exposure compensation. Very intuitive, because it's related to ISO anyway. It basically fakes the ISO. So it has +2, +4, -2, -4. That of course refers to the amount of light you get. Twice the light, 4 times the light. Each one represents an f-stop. It also has halfway points. This point here is for battery check. You press this button over here and it shows you if the battery is good. In the middle you have a hot shoe. A range of flash guns are available for it. On this side you have the shutter speed. Shutter speed goes from B to full 4 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, half a second, 1/4, all the way to 1/2000th of a second, which for 1975 was super quick. Also, where this bump is, it has a setting called A, which is very prominent over here. That means it can also act as automatic shutter, and it is stepless. When it's on automatic, it doesn't necessarily click into any of those speeds. It's fully automatic and stepless. You choose the aperture and it chooses your shutter speed, super accurate. On the back there's not much to see. This is the viewfinder, extra sharp, extra large, very nice. The exposure meter that you see inside is a masterpiece. In my humble opinion, it's the very best there is, even to this day. On the front, we have one of many excellent Carl Zeiss lenses, or the compatible Yashica lenses, which use the same mount called Contax Yashica or CY mount. This one happens to be Distagon 35mm f2.8 wide angle. The way to take the lens out is to press this button over here on the left and it comes out. Very simple. Put it back, match the red dot with the red dot and twist to the right the way it is expected. On this side we have the mirror lockup. So the way it works is demonstrated this way. Push it up, as expected the mirror goes up. Push it down, as expected the mirror goes down. That is there to reduce vibration. This is a self timer, 10 seconds. This button is the light meter preview. If you want to use this in the manual mode, you press that, it shows you the exposure that is being recommended. This button is for depth of field preview. Easy to press. On this side, we also have a PC Sync connection point over there. How many of you know what PC stands for? Anyone? Let me tell you. PC stands for Pronto Compo Common Flash Connection Point, which is a standard devised by those two companies in coordination. And both of them, by the way, were subsidiaries of Carl Zeiss. So that's not a surprise. They created that standard and everybody else followed, and ever since we call it a PC Sync. At the bottom we have the tripod connection socket. We have the battery chamber, which takes one 4LR44 battery. If you can't find it today, watch this video and I'll tell you how to get it. You can also replace that with 4 times LR44 with a little modification, which I'll show you in that video over there. This is the rewind release button. This is the connection point for the power winder. It's a mechanical connection. This is the electronic connection for the power winder. Power winder itself is called real-time winder. Not very heavy. It attaches very easily this way. This opens up. You lift this out, use it almost like a tripod connection, turn this, then pull it back and close this. But before that you have to put some battery inside it. The battery chamber comes like this, 6 times AA batteries. There's a spine over here. The back is over here. The way you put it in is there's a tab that sticks out over here and there's a notch over here. There's only one way it goes in because of that notch. So this is at the top, not at the bottom. You put this bottom first here and you press it in. Goes in. You close it. without any other latches, it goes in. Then you attach it. It has several settings over here: off, continuous, and single. I'll put it on single, put it on manual. Beautiful sound, right? Put it on continuous. Battery test. Another connection point for electronic shutter release over here. This is a mechanical connection to the film rewind crank over there. So you don't have to take this off to rewind the film. You can do it from here. Let's look inside. As expected, you pull this out. Back door opens. It has a focal plane cloth shutter. Super reliable. A lot of these Contax RTSs work flawlessly today. In fact, for cameras of that time, it's one of the most reliable cameras. If you get one, the likelihood of it working is greater than not working. The film goes in here. Put it across. Another simplification invented by Contax is, instead of the silly slot that we used to have and pulls out and so on, there's some tabs there which have a tension inside them. You push that in and it's done. How amazing is that? Pull this across, engages with the sprockets, and it's finished. Now this is the rewind crank. You want to give it a bit of attention, you do. Then you pull it back. Then it rotates freely. And it goes into that slot over there. That's another little innovation, right? And as you pull the film, you might think, how come that doesn't go around to tell me that the film is winding? But there's a white line underneath it. Have a look at it as I wind. You see? You can tell, because that crank has been separated from what's below it by this mechanism. Clever stuff. So to pull the film out, press this button, use the crank until you feel tensioned. At this point, end of the film is out. If you, like me, prefer to keep a little bit of it in, here it is. So that's our beautiful Contax RTS. How would you like to look at some relatives, family members, a crazy uncle, and the guy from across the river? Wait a minute.
A few minutes later.
This one is the cousin. Contax 139 quartz. That came after this one. This is actually regarded as superior to this one, but this accepts the same lenses, it has the same features, but it has more automation, and the shutter is controlled by a quartz internal clock. It has the same type of features. It has auto shutter over here. It has ISO ring over there, exposure compensation over there, and everything else is familiar here. Let's look at the grandfather. Contaflex. Do you see a little bit of family resemblance here? Do you? A little bit. Look at this area here. Look at this area here. A little bit of family resemblance. So when Ferdinand Porsche was designing this, was he looking at the heritage or not? Let's speculate. How about this one? Contina, a family member, also by Carl Zeiss. Zeiss Ikon. Another distant family member would be from the Yashica family branch, right? How about this one? This is a Yashica 35 rangefinder camera. Do you see the family resemblance to the old Contax rangefinder cameras? The ones that were then transferred to Kiev? Let's speculate. Did that result in Contax approaching Yashica? Maybe. But a more recent relative, and the real reason that Carl Zeiss approached Yashica, was the prowess in electronics and very competent popular cameras like this Electro 35. This one is a GS model. In the 2020s, most of these Yashica Electro 35s actually work. All you have to do is to find the weird battery that they take and they will work. Even the ones that don't work, they're easy to fix. There are plenty of YouTube videos on how to fix them. If you don't know how to get the battery for this one, look at this video again, which tells you all about batteries that you can't get. How about the young kid from across the river? 18 years younger. We've seen this one before, right? In this video, have a look at it. Leica R6.2. Equally beautiful. I would say this one slightly nudges that one in terms of beauty and elegance. This one is also fantastic, right? Functionality of both very similar, ease of use, competence very similar, but 18 years apart. If you want to invest in a film camera, don't make a mistake of those who buy real estate at the top of the market when it's hot, or those who buy shares at the top of the market just before it crashes. You want to get these iconic cameras? Forget about those names that everybody mentions. Forget about them. They are at the top of the market themselves. Get one of these. This is the hidden treasure. If those others are Rolex watches, this one is Patek Philippe. This is the hidden gem. Get those. The equivalent of the other famous brands that you get for $2,000, this one you get for $200. And this one will be treasured in the future. Highly recommended. Go and get one.